If you can't watch this all the way to the end, like if you don't have the capacity to do that, you're definitely one of the ignorant people I'm talking about in this video. I cover ignorance from like more than 3 different angles, so there's a little bit of something for everyone. Let me know what you think. It's a good watch. Like I literally just watch myself for 15 minutes. So watch it, let me know what you think if you want to.
The opposite of ignorance is understanding, and the only difference between you and your goals is understanding, knowledge, information. The only difference between you now and the version of you that has what you want is information. Through information you get understanding. The opposite of understanding is ignorance, okay? Information is the foundation. And the hilarious thing about this whole topic is the less you know, the more you think you know. 17-year-old me knew everything. And I feel like even having a conversation with that guy would just be jarring because he's the manifestation of man with a hammer syndrome. Like he's just walking around, putting round pegs in square holes, hammering everything because he has no worldview. I'm using the past me as an example so people can maybe relate it to their life. And if they're doing the things past me was doing, maybe they can look at that and come to the conclusion that, wait, I'm not doing the right thing. So it's just for informational purposes. I don't just go around my life with a complex, just like constantly scrutinizing myself. And paradoxically, I do in a sense. But this might sound crazy to say, and you've probably heard this already, but the past and the future is an illusion. What you haven't heard is why. The present is the only thing that exists because, for example, if you change your perspective, right, like if I say something crazy and it just shifts your perspective on life instantly like that, all of a sudden the past changes because now you see things differently. You see the past differently because your perspective on the past would have changed. And then obviously the future is an illusion because it actually hasn't happened yet. So that's easier to grasp. But the whole idea of the past being an illusion, I just explained it to you. And so all you Muppets what walk around being like, it's too late for me. Like I remember having a conversation with a guy at work. The overlying theme of the message was that he just kept saying like he just kept acting as if he's so old compared to how I was. Like I think I was 21, 22 at the time when I was having this conversation. And he was 27 years old and he was just like, oh, essentially saying, oh, it's too late for me. And it's just like, what? Like all that is, anybody who's like, it's too late for me. Even if you're 40, 50, like, oh, it's too late for me. All you're doing is making an excuse for yourself to keep acting like how you've acted in the past, which you know is not okay. Like all you've done is you've realized what things actually are. You're using the past as an excuse not to adopt the new way, which you know is right of thinking. It's like self-sabotage in a sense. It's ridiculous. On a completely different note, one of my goals this year was to read 100 books. And so I read 40 up till like May, quit my job, and then I just stopped reading. I was just like, I don't have the time to read. Is it not hilarious how as soon as I quit the thing what I was obligated to just give 8 hours of my day to, as soon as I quit that and free up 8 hours a day, I don't have any more time. I don't have time anymore. And so your mind's going to trick you when it comes to information. Like, you know, it's so easy to just brush it over and be like, oh, I already know enough. Like, I don't need to be consuming new information. But you need to, I'm talking to myself as well, to be honest. You need to constantly make sure you're taking in new information. And if you're anything like me and you have big ass goals, like, I'm not going to lie, like I want to be a billionaire. And that's just not like a pipe dream. Like I actually want to be a billionaire. Like I want the grandiosity what comes with that. I want the responsibility what comes with that. I want thousands of employees. Like I want the power and the leverage and the scale what comes with that. And so for me, it's kind of mandatory that I do take in new information because billionaires aren't silly people, right? Like they're aware of what's going on in the world. Like they know about finance and they know about how like the Federal Reserves and stock market cycles and how everything just kind of plays into one another. They know about how politics and different things affect finance and affect like the business cycles and different things. Like they know how big companies are run. They know about different acquisition deals. And you know, like as you can tell, I don't really know enough about these different topics. That's why I'm just kind of throwing out buzzwords and hoping that you see me as a smart person. But yeah, as a future billionaire, like I need to know these things. So maybe if your goals aren't huge and you don't want to be a billionaire, maybe you can get away with not reading 1,000 books. But with me, I kind of have no excuse. Like, I can't go around and be telling people that I want to be a billionaire and then do the thing, like not move towards that. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. It just kind of makes you a little bit of a hypocrite, and you feel that inside, like you kind of have that gnawing feeling that you aren't who you say you're trying to be. Yeah, the only difference between me and billionaire me is information. And I'm kind of crazy because when it comes to doing things, I like to do things fast and big and extreme. Like, I'm like as extreme as it comes in a sense, because I just like to do things fast and big, but I like to do it quick as well. Like, I want things fast. Like, even when I order off Amazon and I'm like, oh, it's going to come tomorrow before 1 o'clock, I'm just like, can't I just pick it up? Like, you know what I mean? I want it now. Like, as soon as I resonate with an idea, as soon as I just see something, or I decide that I want something, it's just all in, it's guns blazing, it's just like one track minded, horse with the blinders on kind of thing. So I kind of like poo-poo on me, who was 17, who was kind of like biased and had all these different worldviews, what just weren't right. But in a sense, I'm still kind of like that. Like, I'd like to think that my thinking is a little bit more accurate now, but I'm still kind of delusive with my thinking and one-track minded and just very extreme and quick and rash and impatient. Like, I like to talk fast and move fast. Like, if you ever see me in person, I'm just running around essentially. Like, I'm speed walking everywhere because I just don't want to waste any time. I just want to maximize different things. Switching subtopics, because we're still on topic, right? Is that, like, the more you don't know, the more you'll pay the price for it. Like, most people don't know how to drink 2 liters of water a day. And when I say it like that, it sounds ridiculous, but do you know how to drink 4 liters of water a day? Do you know how to go to sleep on time? Like, do you know how to have a good night's sleep? Do you know how to be consistent in the day? Do you know how to get the things you need to get done in the day? Do you know how to maximize your days? Do you know how to never burn out? Do you know how to give yourself energy? Do you know what to eat? Like, what is your diet, bro? Do you know how to eat 3,000 calories consistently a day? Do you know how to overcome emotions? Do you know how to overcome procrastination? Do you know how to lead? Procrastination is just lack of clarity on a given subject. And that kind of plays into the role of ignorance, right? Because essentially procrastination is ignorance. How you overcome procrastination is to get clear on a subject. It's like, for example, I'm going into my day-to-day, I've got a whole different bunch of things to do. Like, for example, I needed to build like a standard operating, because I'm hiring a lead list builder for my, because I've got an email campaign that I'm going to run in a couple of weeks after I get my emails warmed up. And I need to hire a new lead list builder because my lead list builder is just too slow. And I've got all these different requirements for what I need for a lead, so I can just import it into my email campaign. And so my lead list is not very good. So I was like, the reason why my lead list builder is not very good is because I'm not giving him very good inputs. Like, kind of, he's just a blank slate, and I give him, it's like a blank canvas, and I give him a drawing to put on his canvas, and the drawing is not very good. So today I needed to build a standard operating procedure for, like, if I'm going to hire new lead list builders, like, I need more. Like, I need thousands of contacts, right? I need thousands of Invisalign providers. So when I send out these email campaigns, I get a ton of clients, right? And so I'm building this operating procedure. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because when I wasn't clear on what it is that was required of this operating procedure, I kind of pushed it off to the next day, into the next day, into the next day. It took me weeks to do, but essentially I did it in a couple of hours when I got clear on what it is I needed to do. And as soon as I got clear on what it is I needed to do, it's like I was able to just do it. As opposed to before, I was holding it off, like my mind saw it as this big thing, as like, oh, I'm pushing it off. But the second I got clear on what it is I needed to do, I realized, like, oh wait, this is actually not that bad, and I can do it in a couple of hours. Another thing about ignorance as well is, like, and productivity is, you can literally double your productivity by just putting time limits on things. Like, you ever just you've gone about a day, it's the end of the day, you feel productive, but then it's like, what have I actually done? Like, nothing's actually got done in a sense. And so something I did today, what was really effective, was I went about the day, but like, I got clear, like, in my journal, I wrote down like what I needed to do in the day. And so I did that. I put down what I needed to do, and then I put time limits on it. I put it in little blocks, right? So for one block, first thing in the morning, I went to the gym, I came back, had a shower, had breakfast. And so that would normally take me 3 hours. And then I was like, wait, why is this taking me 3 hours? Like, okay, it takes me 20 minutes to get to the gym. And if I'm going during rush hour, it's going to take me like 25, 30 minutes to get to the gym. So that's an hour it's just an hour commuting to the gym. And then like 20 minutes in the gym. And then like 30, 40 minutes in the shower, like total brushing my teeth, all of that. As soon as I put a time limit on it, an hour and a half, I was able to do it. So when you put a time limit on something, you will think of ways, or you'll act in a way that is able to get it done in that time frame. And so that's pretty cool. Blind spots are another huge thing when it comes to ignorance, because what you don't know, you don't know. So you don't know, in a sense. And that's like what ignorance is in its essence. Like, I thought I was doing pretty well, like I always get into like these different weird mental states where I'm just like, okay, I'm doing well, I'm handling things cool. And then maybe I'll look at a video and hear about what somebody else is doing. I know it's probably not the best thing to do. And I'll be like, wait, how I've been going about things is completely wrong. Like, it would just bring it to my awareness, and then I'll be able to see things with a new perspective and be like, wait, what am I even doing, in a sense? Like, I listened to this podcast of this guy called Moritz. He's like this 17-year-old.
I was 12 and I started making like serious money. And then I heard about crypto. I was like, okay, well, what is this thing? And I took all the money I'd made from drop shipping and I threw it all into crypto. I saw that when quantitative easing happens, when the Fed starts buying up things, markets go crazy. Same in 2008. From 11, 12, I started reading all the finance books. Like, all the books that everyone talks about, I had already read by the time I was like 13. Now is the time for me to really make money. This is the one. So I looked at the team, you know, where this guy go to uni, like where personally where like I went deep in that thing. I like more than 400x.
I talked about him in my last video as well, because I'm just so inspired by his genius. You know, it's this 17-year-old who's just smart as hell, right? Like, academically smart, emotionally smart. It's just a well-rounded, smart guy, and it's just crazy. Like, I want to be more like that. And so I was just listening to this podcast and just listening to like some of the different things he does, like some of his different mindsets and just different things like that. And I was just like, how I'm going about things is completely wrong. And so just based off that podcast alone, that 2-hour video, I'm going to link it in the description so anyone who wants to watch it can watch it. And after I watched that video, I was just like, okay, like, I want like-minded friends in my life, man. I want like-minded people in my life. And so if I can't come across the like-minded people, I want to create them. So through listening to my information, you can kind of adopt my way of thinking. Be like, okay, cool. Why am I working a 9-to-5? Quit your job, start a business, start making money, and then we can become friends. And so, like, you know, my intent's not that pure, as you can see, but it benefits you, it benefits me, we can be friends. And then we can create a mastermind, like Napoleon Hill said, when two people come together with a like-minded mission, it creates a third mind. Because have you ever been around someone and when you talk with them, it just raises your elevation, and all of a sudden you're just thinking like new level of thoughts because they've just inspired you so much. That is the mastermind effect, where when somebody stimulates your thinking so much, it kind of creates a third brain, which you two kind of share, like through like subconsciousness. Like, your mind just comes together and creates this mastermind. And the weird thing is, when it comes to like how I will get into a groove of like reading and gaining information, and I kind of trick myself out of doing it. Like, I'll be reading, I'll be like, I don't need to read anymore, I'm good. And it's like, it's weird how I do that, because I always look at people, I'm always able to recognize people who are smart and kind of admirize them. Admirize? Is that a word? Admirize. And I look at them and admire them, and it's just like, the only difference between them and me, like for you guys as well, the only difference between you and the person who you're admiring in that moment is inputs. And it's not really the only thing. Like, maybe they were put in situations where they were able to get the inputs, but it's core. The only difference between like me and the person who I perceive to be smart is just inputs. They read when I didn't. They wrote things down when I didn't. They went to bed on time when I didn't. It's just all input, output. Like the whole idea of the 10,000 hour rule. If you haven't read the book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, he explains the 10,000 hour rule phenomenally. I think he came up with the term, if I'm not mistaken, but his take on the whole idea of the 10,000 hour rule, and that you need a lot of inputs to become a master at something, is just really good. It's really eye-opening, okay? And the reason why you need to become a master at something, because if you want to make money, you need to get good at something, okay? Simple as that. Like, the Beatles was like some of the best singers of all time, because the Beatles were really, really good, and they got really, really famous because they were given an opportunity where they were able to go on tour and just do loads of touring before they got famous. So by the time they got famous, they'd already had like 10,000 hours worth of touring. So when it came to touring and when it actually mattered, they were really good. And then they were really good performers, is what I'm trying to say. Another example, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were born in like the 1950s, during an era where they was able to like capitalize on like, what's it called, technology. Like, it was like the starting point of like technology and like the whole computers and different things like that. And so they were given an opportunity, inputs and different stuff. It comes down to opportunity as well, is what I'm saying. And so, like, you know, if you're given an opportunity where you can do something or get extra practice time in more than anybody else and get more inputs in, you're gonna have an unfair advantage. So, like, a lot of different things, like, I don't know, it's just, I know what I mean, but for me to just say it like that, I understand it's going to go over most people's heads because I'm not giving the full context, like how I have it. I don't know. I've been talking for a long time now. I'm going to break this up and hopefully I can come up with something from it. But yeah, man, I got pins and needles so bad. Let me turn this off.